Welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into a genuinely hilarious and honestly highly relatable essay by a writer named akin. It captures this exact feeling that I know so many of us have experienced lately, that absolute whiplash of taking your eyes off the tech world for just a second, only to turn back and realize literally everything has changed. We're talking about a sweltering summer day, a husband who just really wanted to watch the World Cup, and a tech landscape that completely shifted right beneath his feet while he wasn't looking. It's a phenomenon perfectly described as the return of Urashima Taro. Now, we'll get into exactly what that means in just a second, but you should know this is ultimately a story about the funny intersection of everyday family life and the absolute dizzying speed of artificial intelligence.
So, picture the scene. It's the middle of summer, the heat is just punishing. The author, akin, says the air outside feels less like a breeze and more like a giant hairdryer blowing directly into their house on the low setting. Heatstroke alerts are flashing across the TV, and suddenly her husband starts frantically pacing around the room, muttering to himself, "This is bad, really bad, bad, bad." Naturally, given the weather, his wife immediately thinks the worst, right? She assumes he's got heatstroke. She thinks he's hit some dangerous physical limit. But as we quickly find out, his body is totally fine. His mind, on the other hand, is in a state of absolute sheer panic over the evolution of AI.
And this brings us to that Urashima Taro effect. If you aren't familiar, Urashima Taro is this classic Japanese folktale about a fisherman who rescues a turtle, goes down to an underwater palace for what feels like just a few days, but when he returns to the surface, centuries have passed. He is completely, totally left behind by time. And that is exactly what the husband in our essay is going through. It's a modern-day, technological version of that story. Stepping away from your tech feeds for even a brief moment right now leaves you feeling like a very confused time traveler who just got dropped into some unrecognizable future. To really put this into perspective, think about the timeline here, because the speed of AI advancements creates this massive disconnect. Just 2 months prior, the husband innocently gets super distracted by the World Cup. He totally unplugs from his tech news to just focus on soccer. But while he is cheering for goals, the AI landscape in the background is undergoing these massive structural shifts. New models drop, platforms get integrated, capabilities just explode. And then we hit present day, where he finally logs back in and is greeted by a completely transformed reality. It's such a stark contrast, right? A simple 2-month break for sports versus massive technological leaps happening in that exact same window. No wonder he feels like he's been gone for a century.
Now, you might be wondering, how does a normal human brain actually process this kind of overwhelming, rapid change? Well, to cope with it all, the husband uses this brilliant, honestly comedic technique that I think we can all learn from. He anthropomorphizes the different AI models. He literally turns these complex arrays of code and algorithms into distinct characters with their own personalities, relationships, and quirks. And it's not just a funny habit, it's actually a profound psychological coping mechanism. By turning intimidating software into people, he takes the abstract, terrifying pace of tech evolution and turns it into a social circle he can actually navigate. He's building a mental cast of characters to understand his own tools.
And you can literally track how the tech industry is shifting just by looking at how he visualizes these models. Take Google's Notebook LM, for example. He affectionately calls it Nobu-san and pictures it as this really smart, slightly aloof, prim and proper student from his school days. Very rigid, very academic. But then, enter Gemini-san. He views Google's Gemini AI as this engaging, highly conversational, friendly older sister. Without even realizing it, he's tracking the entire industry's pivot, going from these purely functional, rigid data processors, the academic student, to fluid, natural, personable conversationalists, the fun older sister. But here is where it gets incredibly funny. Because he's created this rich social world in his head for his AI tools, regular software updates become deeply emotional events. When he finds out that Notebook LM has been integrated with Gemini, which is literally just a back-end update, he gets genuinely flustered. He phrases the merger as if it were a real-world social event that he somehow missed. He's like, "Gemini Notebook? Did her last name change? Did she get married?" He literally reacts as if a close friend tied the knot while he was busy watching soccer and he was left off the guest list. And his wife, who is just watching all this go down, dryly notes in the essay that, well, she certainly wasn't invited to the wedding either. So his AI social circle just keeps expanding, and it starts creating this hilarious hierarchy in his house. He excitedly bursts out to his wife that Gemini-san is more fun to talk to than Chappie. Now, just for context, Chappie is his personal nickname for ChatGPT. So he is literally standing there comparing the conversational vibes of his different AI friends, just gushing about how much he enjoys his chats with Gemini. And as he gleefully ranks his AI companions based on their conversational skills, his wife, Riley, questions where she, his actual human spouse, standing right in front of him, fits into this expanding social circle. It's just such a grounded, very funny moment of humanity right in the middle of all this tech chaos.
But let's get back to the true source of his initial panic. That whole "this is bad, bad, bad" moment from the very beginning, it isn't just about the AI having more fun conversations. It's about a fundamental technological leap. It finally clicks for him that the industry has officially shifted into the era of AI agents. The whole paradigm has moved from just chatting to what he calls servants. He turns to his wife and says, AI is no longer just a chatting partner, it's a servant. It's this massive realization that these tools aren't just going to talk back to him anymore, they are literally going to do things for him.
Now, when he starts throwing around the word agent, there's a pretty funny disconnect between the two of them. The wife hears agent and immediately pictures, James Bond, a secret agent in dark sunglasses and a suit doing covert operations in the shadows. But the husband's view, which is exactly where the tech industry is actually heading, is that an AI agent is an autonomous worker. He uses the Japanese word shimobe, which translates to servant or subordinate. He guessed that it's a tool that doesn't just answer your questions, but actually executes complex, multi-step tasks on your behalf. And that is the exact realization that completely blew his mind after his 2-month hiatus.
So how does he handle this realization? He goes all in. Fully embracing this new multi-agent workflow, he starts enthusiastically barking orders at his computer, like he's the hero of Babel 2, which is this classic 1970s anime where the main character commands 3 alien servants. The guy literally sits at his desk shouting, "Chappie, fly! Gemini-san, go by sea! Nobu-san, transform and run by land!" I mean, how endearing is that? Instead of being terrified of the AI revolution, he's leaning into it with the imagination of a kid watching Saturday morning cartoons. He is showing this complete, joyful immersion into the new tech, orchestrating his AI models like a true anime protagonist.
And as the wife watches this absolutely chaotic scene unfold from a distance, her husband shouting anime commands at his laptop while the summer heat blazes away outside, we arrive at the real heart of this explainer. Because what we're actually talking about here isn't just software updates or large language models, right? We are talking about human nature. We are talking about the power to actually enjoy change. It is so incredibly easy to become cynical or just totally overwhelmed when the world moves faster than we can track. But this essay highlights the absolute beauty of leaning into that chaos rather than running away from it.
As she watches him scramble to catch up, she has this wonderful realization. His frantic behavior isn't just some shallow tech obsession. She observes that new things make him want to know, to be surprised, to try them out. She realizes that his restlessness might unexpectedly be proof of his vitality. Think about that for a second. It's a beautiful, chaotic display of curiosity. In a world that is just constantly shifting, maintaining the energy to be surprised, to want to try the new thing, and to play with it so enthusiastically, that is a deep sign of life. His restlessness isn't a flaw at all. It's practically his superpower.
As we wrap up today's explainer, the author leaves us with this quiet, really fond observation. She notes that she is going to happily watch his strange tech journey from a slight distance, really looking forward to seeing what happens next. And then she asks, what protagonist will he become next? It's a question that definitely leaves us smiling, but it also makes you ponder your own relationship with rapid innovation. When you are faced with the ever-evolving story of technology, how do you react? Do you panic? Do you just ignore it? Or do you cast yourself as the hero of a brand new adventure, ready to command your AI companions? In the grand narrative of technological change, what kind of protagonist will you choose to be? Something to think about the next time you sit down at your keyboard. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.